learned from the lesson. Live in the hills, but I still get a spread. Started with a little, but I still reinvest it. Fear how I feel, then you feel like a blessing. I just want the lesson, I just want protection. I'm up and I'm down, but they sound like progression. Farmer never plans if he waits for perfection. Finger to the down.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I got your Watchlist coming into June 1st, 2021, and the stock market hype isn't over. And I got 3 stocks that I'm looking at coming into tomorrow. But the real question is going to be, are we going to continue to see hype out of some of those names like AMC and GameStop? But now at the same time, you are going to get to hear from the Fed. We get Jerome Powell at the end of the week with a non-farm payrolls report, which has a lot of implications. But if you notice here, we finally broke out of this streak of doing a lot of movement to get nothing. We kind of edged up this week, starting a new month. We're going to get to hear from Powell. We're going to get to see if you get any of that growth value hype rotation, whatever you want to call it. And then quickly after that, you're going to get the CPI, then Powell again. And then it looks like we're going to start off this month pretty exciting. So we got a lot to talk about. I want to go over what happened in the market last week, what we're looking at this week, and all of the events. It is a short week, obviously. The plays that we made last week, and then the plays that we have for tomorrow and the rest of the week. So let us not delay. You guys know what you need to do. Drop your thumbs up on the video. Make sure you're subscribed. And if you don't know, we are live Monday through Friday, 30 minutes for open. It's the first link in the description, and it is pinned in the comments. We better see you there in the morning. It's free 99. It costs you nothing to join. YouTube.com/the-stock-market. You can post the plays, see the plays, watch the watchlist come to life. And yes, if you understand that I'm supposed to say something at this very moment of the video on the watch list every day, then yeah, we're the place to be. And the most important thing you need to do, post your watch below. Let us know what you're looking at. Got any plays, comments, remixes, anything. Post them below and source that info. Shout out to chat, baby. And please do not forget, today is Sunday. Tomorrow is, no, it's a holiday. But we do this on the watch list to start at the week. We have the random account generator. We started this account with $500. And what we ask from you watching this video is to post a random option trade, specific strike price, expiration date, preferably with time, and under $100 in value. And then we will do a random comment picker and buy it arbitrarily. But here's the performance after a year and a half. It's been ticking up lately. Chad has been killing it. So let's go, baby. So right off the bat, though, this week you are going to get the non-farm payrolls. You're going to get Jerome Powell in the morning. His meeting is going to be about climate change. So that will definitely have some implications. But the main thing people are going to be looking for here is the non-farm payrolls, because this relates to that whole tapering talk, or thinking about tapering. Because if that jobs report comes in very, very solid, it may start to give a little bit more weight to some of the other factors, because we're seeing the inflation, we're seeing it above 2%. Jerome wants to make sure it's not transitory, and then the final thing he's looking for is the employment rate, and it's kind of happening a little bit faster here. But the main key with this one is, are they just going to talk about it and say that they're thinking about it, or really we're going to see what thinking about it looks like or means to the Fed right now? So the non-farm payrolls are going to be key. You are going to get Jerome Powell. You are also going to get a lot of other Fed members this week. So even though we're getting a short week, you are going to get some other data points. But there is pretty much like 4 or 5 Fed members are going to be speaking at different various speeches. You'll probably get headlines throughout the day. We're not going to really listen to them. Powell will be the main one, and that's going to be Friday morning. And then you're going to get the jobs report on Friday. But depending on how the two play out, the Fed is probably going to be key this week. You will get some manufacturing numbers and data points, but it won't be too crazy, just because it's probably going to get overshadowed by the jobs report and then any connections that could be made from Powell on Friday. So that is what we're going to have as far as news and what to watch. But now the real question, like I said, is the hype going to continue? You saw how last week played out. That's why it's important to see that we did actually see some progress and ended up a little bit higher than where we were on Friday. It was slow, but definitely a break in the pattern that we've seen all May, and coming off of that red Friday the week before that. So now the real question is, are you going to see the hype stocks continue, and what sort of effect is that going to have? Can they coexist? But now what I really want to watch for is, do you kind of see the value stocks get a second leg? I really want you to think about some of the rotation we saw at the beginning of the year, because that's pretty much what happens here. Because if the hype stocks really start going, some of the other bigger growth names may lag a little bit, but then in that same moment we saw value stocks make an epic run. And that's what I kind of want to watch here, especially as we're getting through the second half or coming into the second half of the year. So keep your eye out for that. I definitely want to be watching that momentum. You are also going to get a lot of ex-dividends coming up. You had a little bit of that last week, but now too on names from even like Home Depot to Qualcomm to even an interesting one, TLT. Depending on how the market plays out, you should see that familiar ex-dividend effect. So I want to watch how that plays out, and then following that, and then seeing where the momentum lies from there. But other than that, the main thing that'll move things, it is going to have to do with some of the currencies and bonds. You did kind of see some interesting actions with the Chinese currency this weekend. We'll talk about it a little bit on stream, but I'm going to be tying that into the main thing, which I think can affect the dollar, but it's going to be the budget talks, and I think it is going to chill out a little bit up until the 7th when Congress kind of comes back. They kind of have a little deadline there, and you saw kind of how last week played out, so I'm not really expecting too much with it. However, I want to start watching currencies or keep watching the currencies because that is where I think we will get the biggest effect. Other than that, it seems like it's going to be a pretty chill week. It is a short week. Watch the premiums, but there is a lot of market activity in specific areas, and that is what we got to see, and that's what we got to be ready for, so I hope you're ready. But that is pretty much it, so let us get into the plays. So right off the bat, I got 3 different plays that I'm looking at this week. A little bit weird, but it kind of shows you where I'm looking at this week or where my mind's at. But the first play that I want to watch is NVDA. We got these plays from last week, and it had really good performance on Friday. It was up about 5%, but the reason why I like it is because I think the split news may start to get hyped a little bit, and you now have the continuation from the earning, and those premiums are up. So if you remember, we got those out the money plays, we made them free, and then it kept going up even after that, and then even after earnings, it kind of stayed the same price, but now after it started going up again, considering how far out the money they are, and now it has like a 15-20% gain, I think that is a little bit interesting there, so I want to watch them. But if you start seeing that split hype get priced in, it could give it a little bit more activity, because I was saying last week, it's weird that a lot of people really weren't talking about that. Now, I believe it is going to be June 6th or 7th they do the vote, so we'll have to see what happens there, but I would not be surprised for it to go through, so we'll see that one. That's going to be the first play. The second play that I want to watch is Viacom. So remember, I got that old option on it. I like how it's holding up. It's still up 50%, which is very surprising to me, but I like it because it is kind of one of these value growth plays. A lot of people don't know Viacom actually pays a dividend, so even though the stock has moved a lot, this thing is still offering like a 2% dividend. It was a lot lower at this point. Again, that was the run-up. That was the Archegos Billy Wong situation. It was a little bit crazy there, but you pull it out, you can kind of see where they at on the 2020 level. Pretty much a perfect value play, if anything. So the fact the premiums are holding up, I just want to watch them in the name of value stocks this week, and that is something I'm really going to keep my eye out. So this is one where it has value. It doesn't necessarily mean quality, but given the space, the streaming, the intellectual property, all that stuff we've been seeing going on here, it could hold up a little bit, but it's definitely at that 2020 level when a lot of other value names with quality have gone up. So it's definitely out of favor here. My biggest worry about it is that whole situation that happened with Billy Huang and what led to the block trades and the pricing. So it's going to be interesting, but I think it's been moving pretty interesting here at these levels. So if I want to see if it does break out or anything of that nature, but that is going to be the second play. Then as far as the third play, back to the same logic here, I want to watch Walgreens. Another value play. They just had their ex-dividend and they're doing pretty decent, but they also just got clapped from that Amazon news. So I kind of want to see if it has that follow-up, because I was saying last week, it reminded me of Altria. So you saw that little Amazon drop. It's coming up here. It really hasn't moved too much, and this is the key that I want to watch here for, is that a lot of the value stocks now, they had these little run-ups. They're holding up at these levels now. They haven't done too much over the last couple months. The question is, are they going to lead the market, flow in line with the market, or will there kind of be a little bit of a flip-flop this quarter? And that is what I want to keep my eye out for. So I'm going to be watching value names. Walgreens is going to be one to look at this week. I just want to see if it has that follow-up, but those are going to be the main plays. As far as everything else, I still want to watch AMC. We had those covered calls. Those were a little bit all over the place. If you guys want to get an idea of what happened, those 40 calls that we sold to do the covered calls, they came down from where they opened. They were at $1,000 on Friday open, but then they slipped up. But you can see here on the Robin here, it says we're down 100%. But remember, only way we lose by June 18th is if AMC is above $40, and I sold 2 out of the 300 shares, so I could still hold 1. So you're kind of seeing how this plays out. Still get to hold all of our AMC shares. We still have a gain. We made sure we got a little bit of this profit here, and we still have a little bit more wiggle room on the upside. So I'm going to be watching that this week, though. I definitely think whatever happens with these hype names will be very, very pivotal. Again, we'll see if it will continue or not, and that could definitely say a lot about the space. So watch them. Watch UWMC. Same sort of logic here, but now it's getting at some of these key levels, and depending on what sort of breakout it could have, or really just the support level, we'll kind of see. But I believe you do also have ex-dividend coming up, I think early June, so we're going to take a look at that there. But watch out for UWMC. Watch Doordash. We had that play last week. They were still up. We were able to make them free, and I was still surprised the premiums are holding up. Again, we saw some of the movements it had last week. Big option gains, so depending on how you see rotation this week, I still want to keep an eye on them. Watch Apple. I've been saying they could be a leader here, and despite what you saw on Friday, they did kind of come down here. They also had some of those court cases and some other stuff. Even Amazon and Google had some legal issues. So I really want to watch how these play out because, again, it could give you some idea into the hype stocks and rotation if you see some of the bigger names slip while some of the other lower quality growth names get a little bit more hype. So watch them. Watch Ford. It was a leader last week. It still came down below $15. I really want to see how it handles $15. That's a multi-year high. And you are also going to get auto sales data this week too, I think tomorrow or Wednesday. So that could possibly have an effect, but watch them. Viacom, like we said, and even Dash in the same breath, or excuse me, Dish, but they got some new things going on here. You could kind of see how it plays out or trading compared to 2020, but I like them. They do not pay a dividend. Again, kind of these value communication plays that aren't AT&T. I think they could be a little bit decent here, so watch them. Moving on to the next chart, like we said, Walgreens, keep your eye on them. Watch IRM. I want to see how REITs play again. I really am going to be very interested how value plays because you can see it. Some of them are still edging up. Compare that to the ones that kind of leveled out here, but this is a REIT, and you've seen how Iron Mountain has traded over the last year, but want to keep my eye out for them. I want to see how they play. AbbVie again. This is one that has just been very, very solid over the years. You could see been a good value name, kind of a hybrid, so I want to watch how they play and see how they also play even with ex-dividend. Then I'm going to watch NVIDIA. Like I said, I just think they're at that breakout point. You could see it here at the chart mixed in with the stock split. All of that could be very, very good tomorrow, so I want to watch them. Watch here. I'm in on this play. Remember, we got the shares, but the fact that they're kind of breaking out, I think I'm already up like 12%. I think they're at a very interesting level, so I want to see how it plays out here. I believe there was some activist news, I think last week or something that caused it. It kept going up, but we didn't really hear much about it, so watch them. Same thing with GLSI. And another reason why I'm putting these on here, because on Friday, it was a pretty muted day. You didn't see much activity, but we still had some names that we were in that did very good. GLSI, this is that breast cancer drug, and they have something, again, they announced it not too long ago. We went over their filing. They should be having something coming up, but they're getting back to that price we bought it at, but was a strong performer on Friday, so watch them. Then I want to watch Coinbase. Crypto has had an interesting last couple of weeks here, and I want to see how it's been weighing here, just because we saw some green days, but now it's holding a level. The real question is, will it maintain? And then that also reminds me too of Roblox. I think it's going to be a very interesting week given how it played last week. It's either really just going to continue and make that push for 100, or it's probably going to dance around a little this week. If we don't get much clarity in the market, then it'll probably move from there. And then finally, baby, good old TLT. And the interesting part, like I said, it is actually going to have ex-dividend tomorrow, I believe. So I want to see how that plays out, but you can see, you pull this up here coming into the Fed, the CPI, the jobs report, all of this, you were just really at this key level. The same situation still applies. I am going to watch for the dollar. The dollar is probably going to shoot up tomorrow. I don't know how it updates here. Yeah, it's probably going to go up a little bit here because the Chinese currency weakened. They raised their reserve ratio requirement for the first time in 15 years. Last time they did that was 2006 and 2007. Kind of a pseudo way to weaken their currency. So it weakened their currency a little bit. You're probably going to see the dollar shoot up again. I don't know if it highlights it here, given you had one day off, but watch the dollar in general. But really what I want to watch with TLT is how do any of these currency moves affect it? But then what is going to happen with the jobs report, then the CPI that's coming out, not the end of this week, but the end of next week. Probably going to have one more week of wiggle room unless it does set a range before then. But depending on how things move out, if you get big moves or not, it will really tell us if we have a real key to see, because the only thing I'm coming up with this week, I did think of a way it could go wrong. I guess my theory in general is you just stall out for the next year. Again, it is not out of the picture that some people think you're pretty much going to get this as the cap of the long-term rates, maybe like a 0.25% higher, barely. The danger zone is if you hit 2%, it usually goes crazy. So the long-term rates could stay high here. I think it would make more sense to fluctuate between 2.25 than 1.5 to 1.75 or maybe 2. So we will see, but depending on the economic data this week, we will find our answers. So I hope you're ready. But that is your watch list, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you're healthy, ready to go. Make sure you post your watch list. Make sure we see you there in the morning. I need the armor on. I need the helmet shining. I need you to remember, maybe the storm ain't there to break you. It's there to make you. But the code loves you. I love you. I'm going to see you in the morning. Let's go.